Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Wilson Stribling. Welcome to another edition of At Issue, where we discuss and debate the issues facing the state of Mississippi and how these issues impact you. At issue tonight, a state lottery. Lawmakers have been debating whether to bring the lottery here for years. Mississippi's 1890 Constitution banned the lottery, which had become popular next door in Louisiana at the time. In 1992, voters repealed the state ban, but to this day, lotteries remain illegal in Mississippi. We are one of just 6 states that don't have a state-run lottery. However, lawmakers are now seriously considering creating one, mainly due to the state's need for additional revenue to fund critical needs like infrastructure and education. So how much money would a lottery bring in? Well, it's hard to tell at this point, but we can get a good idea when we look at states around us. In fiscal year 2017, Tennessee grossed $1.6 billion, Louisiana $454.8 million, and Arkansas $449.9 million. The net proceeds in each state after expenses and prizes awarded: Tennessee $386.7 million, Louisiana $159.1 million, and Arkansas $85.2 million. House Speaker Philip Gunn has formed the Mississippi House Lottery Study Working Group to look into the issue. The group met for the second time this week. It's comprised of 9 members led by House Gaming Committee Chairman Richard Bennett of Long Beach. The other members are Nick Bain of Corinth, Chris Johnson of Hattiesburg, Mac Huddleston of Pontotoc, and Cedric Burnett of Tunica. Also in the group, State Gaming Commission Executive Director Alan Godfrey, Vicksburg Mayor George Flaggs, Peer Director James Barber, and Special Assistant to the Attorney General and Counsel for the Gaming Commission, Lou Frascona. They are analyzing the pros and cons of forming a lottery here, with operational, social, and economic issues at the center of their study. We spoke with Chairman Bennett about what the study group has learned from other states so far.
I think the first thing you've got to do, you have to have competent people running your lottery. You have to have people who know what they're doing. I think you have to bring in professionals to operate it and run it. If you don't, you're going to be a failure. And Arkansas started off, and some of the other places started off in a direction and realized they weren't going in the right direction, had to reorganize, revamp how they have their commission and stuff. And so I think it's real important that we look at their failures and see what they did wrong. And with that being said, that doesn't mean that we're going to have a lottery here or not. We're just looking at it, the pros and cons, and the whole purpose of this study is to give the facts. It's not to make a recommendation for or against the lottery. In the end, whenever we have our final product, which we're going to have one more meeting, and then we should have our final product about 6 weeks after that. But then again, there will not be a recommendation for or against the lottery. It will just be facts about the lotteries. I think you have to have professionals run it from the beginning. I don't think any public funds need to put in starting a lottery either. Some of the states you saw did use public money, some did not. They borrowed money from a bank. It was paid back pretty quickly. But again, I don't think you need to put public funds into creating a lottery. I think the lottery, and another thing is, again, if you dictate where the money or where the proceeds are going to go, let's say someone says put in public health, let's say someone puts it in education, or wherever you choose to put the money, again, I'd recommend against that because it's a shell game. If you put it in education, that's less money from the general fund that's going to go there. So again, let's not play games, just put it in the general fund and appropriate it how it should be appropriated.
With no state lottery here, Mississippians often cross the state line into Louisiana, Arkansas, and Tennessee to play the game of chance. MPB's Mark Rigsby spent an afternoon at a popular spot in Louisiana for people from Mississippi to buy lottery tickets.
When you travel west on Interstate 20, just a few miles after you leave Mississippi, you will see a small convenience store in a little community called Delta, Louisiana. It's seemingly in the middle of nowhere. But according to the Louisiana Lottery, this store consistently is number 1 or number 2 in lottery ticket sales out of all 3,000 locations in the entire state. People coming from Mississippi have a lot to do with it.
Why are you here today?
To get some lottery tickets because it's up a little bit and I'm on vacation from work this week, so drove on over to pick a few up.
So you don't mind driving all the way from Madison to Louisiana to get lottery tickets?
I mean, certainly I mind it. I wish we had the lottery in Mississippi. Every time I travel for work, to Florida, Tennessee, and different places, I always pick the tickets up there because I cannot at home. So, I prefer not to burn the gas and do it, but I do.
Are you buying lottery tickets today?
Yes, I am.
Tell me why you're buying lottery tickets.
Take a chance on winning. I know it's a long shot, but it's better than nothing.
Is it worth driving all the way from Canton down here?
I guess it is. Well, if you look at the time and the money you spend and whether you win or not, it could be a loss because 9 times out of 10 you're not going to win no way. If you win, then you're in good shape. It's worth it. It's well worth it if you win.
Tell me why you play lottery.
Well, I just like something extra to do. And I like the excitement of taking the lottery ticket to see have you won and everything. And to take a chance on getting out of debt.
On this day, everyone we spoke to, on and off camera, who was buying lottery tickets during our visit was from Mississippi.
Do you think it would be worth the time and the effort to implement a lottery in Mississippi?
Yeah, they lose a lot of money going to Louisiana, coming out of Louisiana and other places, Arkansas, all the way around us. So they lose money. That's just like other states don't have casinos, they lose money in Mississippi too.
I think they should have it, So all the money coming over here be there, They could use it in Mississippi because Mississippi kind of, low with funds and stuff.
What do you think lottery funds should be used for?
Mostly the school. I think most of the schools.
Would bringing a lottery to Mississippi be bad for anyone?
I don't think so. I don't think it would be bad. No more than the casino. It's bad for the people. Just about like the same thing. Gambling is gambling.
Well, I think that the lottery would benefit us because you could save all our dollars over there versus bringing them to Louisiana. Because we got to drive 35 miles. That's the gas also,
What do you think lottery money should be used for?
That's a school. I guess some of the dollars should go for the road structure and numerous other things,
Do you think if the lottery were to come to Mississippi, it would be bad for certain people?
No, I don't, because you have your choice, You don't have to play the lottery if you don't want to. That's strictly up to the person themselves.
If you got all these casinos, why not just go ahead and put the lottery in with it too?
What do you think should be done with the money that's generated from a lottery in Mississippi?
Education, hospital, stuff like that, Help the poor out, poor people, old people.
I think it's a good thing. I'm an educator in Mississippi, and I've always been a proponent of the lottery for several years, just because I've seen other states like Georgia use the lottery positively to help students with a certain grade point average pay for college. And I think if it's used the right way, it can go toward education, it can go toward our roads and, things that really need the assistance. I just want us to see it. I want to see it handled the right way.
The Louisiana Lottery says about 6% of all prize winners each year are from Mississippi. And from what we saw, in just a few hours at this small convenience store across the state line, you can understand why. Mark Rigsby, MPB News.
Members of the House Lottery Study Working Group visited lottery officials in Louisiana and Arkansas to better understand what it would take to establish a lottery in Mississippi and what the consequences would be. We spoke with the president of the Louisiana Lottery, Rose Hudson, about that state system, what the money is used for, meeting with the study group, and if she's concerned about Mississippi getting in on the game.
Well, I think the legislature saw the opportunity for some additional revenue, and a state lottery was, I think, an appropriate way for them to do that, fully regulated with all the controls in place, but certainly an entertainment option for the people of Louisiana. We have a 35% mandate, so 35% of gross revenue is turned over to the state of Louisiana. That money goes to K-12 education. So that money is constitutionally dedicated for that purpose. But of course, that's the formal mandate. There's always the informal mandate or the informal conversation of, can't you do a little bit more? And that can be a challenge to explain what the business principles are, how we're running the corporation, and we're not exactly just able to make gold coins. We try to market our games as an entertainment product. There are some entities or some states that really try to drive home the message of, win for life, this is your opportunity to retire, and we don't take that approach when we market our product. It is entertainment. We put out information about don't spend more than you can afford. We want our players to look at this as just a fun thing to do. And so we don't promote our product as a get-rich-quick idea. So I think that message has been effective, and I think we've done well by the state of Louisiana. Our players tell us we've done well by the state of Louisiana by taking that marketing approach. $500,000 of gross revenue every year goes to the Department of Health and Hospitals Office of Behavioral Health. So that's to promote efforts toward helping folks who are addicted, have a problem in gaming addiction. And that's across the spectrum. That's not just lotteries. We also publish the I think it's 1877 number on the back of our tickets and on other collateral materials to let people know if you have a problem with addiction to gaming, here's where you can get some help. October is Problem Gaming Awareness Month, and so we participate in that, put out a message. We kind of go dark in some of our other promotions in order to put that message forward. So I think we've been very effective in terms of being a partner with the state and other entities in helping those who do have that problem. So we try to be good partners with all of our friends around the country, and that's no different from the visitors from Mississippi. We provided information on, the administration, organizational charts, that kind of thing. Our law, enabling legislation, the structure, day-to-day operations, talking a little bit about contract processes and all of that. We did talk a little bit about how you set that up and not using the concept of trying to do it too quickly and missing out on some of the opportunities to do it well. We're okay with it. I mean, there are only a few states in the country at this point that don't have a lottery. And I'll give you, for instance, we were wondering what would happen when Texas started a lottery. And what's been proven is that we've still been very successful. When Arkansas started a lottery, we were still very successful. Our players connect with the games that we provide. There's a sense of familiarity with their retail locations that they purchase their tickets from. So we'll still be okay if our brothers and sisters from Mississippi decide they want to join the family.
I spoke recently with William Perkins, editor of the Baptist Record and spokesman for the executive board of the Mississippi Baptist Convention. What is the board's official or the convention's official position on statewide lottery?
Well, the board is against it. It's corrupting right down to the soul level of the soul, like alcohol. It's not something that Mississippians in general have benefited greatly from. Alcohol was supposed to save the state budget when it was legalized. Well, it didn't. Then casino gambling was supposed to be the answer to all of our troubles. And then onshore legal gambling was going to pave our roads with gold. And it hasn't happened. And there's no legitimate reason to expect the lottery to make it happen either. It's a fool's gold. It's a fool's dream.
Is the position of the board based on biblical teachings or on the destruction of the family unit, or that it wouldn't be any better if we had these things, or what?
I would say all of the above. Galatians 5 in the Bible talks about fruits of the Spirit and warns us what not to do. Greed, covetousness, envy, all of the things that you can associate
with the lottery we think are biblically based reasons for being against it. Matthew 6 talks about you can't serve two masters. You can either serve money or God, but you can't serve both. So we don't see this as a very positive step for Mississippi or for Mississippians at all. There's just too much at stake to depend on a lottery to balance the budget, and for Mississippians to be able to maintain their balance about the lottery too.
A number of our statewide elected officials or representatives and senators who are elected, of course, in their districts have differing views on this. A lot of them, though, say they are opposing a lottery in the state based on religious reasons. Does that surprise you, or are you pleased to see that?
Well, that doesn't surprise me. Mississippi is a religious state, and there's some very religious people who have sought God's guidance, the Lord's guidance on this issue, and I have no doubt that they have been led to be against it. So win or lose, the Mississippi Baptist Convention Board is going to be against the lottery because it just does things to people that people shouldn't be subjected to. For instance, Mississippi Baptist churches, most of them have funds to help people who are down on their luck and are provide them with money or clothes or whatever. So Mississippi Baptist churches see this all the time, especially from casino gambling. People just come into the churches and just want a bus ticket back to Mobile, or they want a bus ticket home. That's all they're asking for, because they have spent every penny on this fool's dream of casino winnings too. So we see the lottery in the same light. There are going to be a lot of people who are going to lose a lot that they don't have to lose.
What about this lottery study group that has come out of the legislature that is studying the idea and not technically going to make a recommendation to the legislature, but is looking at all sides of this? Have they been in touch with you, and how do you feel about what they might find as they do their work?
No, they have not been in touch with me, and to my knowledge, not with the convention board, any of the leadership at the convention board. The study committee is a good thing if it's fair, if it's honest, if it's going to hear from all sides of the argument. If there is already a decision, if a decision has been made, or they're leaning toward a decision without conducting hearings where all sides get to speak, then that wouldn't be very good for the state either, to govern the state like that.
What if this latest effort does gain some traction? We do get a bill in the legislature, it does pass, and we do end up with a lottery. How is the Mississippi Baptist Convention prepared to respond to that?
Well, when the lottery Powerball lottery went to $1.3 billion, according to BusinessInsider.com, there was one chance in 292 million that one person would win it. It's like filling an Olympic swimming pool with BBs, paint one red and put it in the pool, and then charge people $2 to reach in and pull out BBs, trying to get the red BB. So the Mississippi Baptist Convention Board is always going to be opposed to a lottery, both biblically and for what it does to people. And so we would always be against it. If there was a chance to repeal it, we would certainly be in favor of that. But we're going to fight it, and people are going to know that Mississippi Baptists are opposed to the lottery.
William Perkins, editor of the Baptist Record of the Mississippi Baptist Convention, thank you very much. Let's get straight to the point now with views from both sides of the aisle. Austin Barber is a Republican national strategist. He's the founding partner of the Clearwater Group. Brandon Jones is a Democrat. He's an attorney with the Beria Jones Law Firm and a former member of the House. Brandon, Austin, thank you both for being on At Issue once again.
Thanks.
All right, state lottery. It seems to come up every year in some form or fashion, maybe a little bit more this past legislative session than it has in other years. What's going to happen, Brandon? Put on your a view into the future.
Yeah, well, you know, if we put the faces of different individuals from across the state into a slot machine down in Biloxi, and you pulled the lever, and that person got to be governor or lieutenant governor, or you know, in the Senate, we probably do better than a lot of what we get whenever we act like we know what we're doing. So why not? I think for a state like Mississippi, facing such substantial challenges in terms of basic funding needs, whether it's education, healthcare, infrastructure, you're almost silly to take an option off the table. We've seen in other states, Georgia and Louisiana most notably, where they've had some success at shoring up their state budget. They've had some success at having these things connected to certain policy initiatives that have worked. That I think it would be a little short-sighted for Mississippi, at least not to give this a good, serious look. Now, we have an industry in Mississippi that has made its home here, that has been relatively successful here in our casino industry and gaming industry. They are a little wary of this. They feel threatened by it, and I think we also have to be serious about recognizing that we don't have a lot of economic resources to spare, so we don't want to do anything that would kneecap one of our good business partners in the state. But I do think, just from a general perspective of looking at the overall big picture, it would be foolish of us to take any option off the table that's worked elsewhere.
I have point 1 and point 1A. I'll start with 1. Point 1 is, and I think Brandon wasn't as aggressive as I'm about to be. We've got the gaming industry, casinos, who have invested billions of dollars into Mississippi, have tens of thousands of employees from the Mississippi Delta down through the river over to the coast. I think it would be massively unfair if we went and set up an industry that would compete against them, an entity that would compete against them. There are only so many gaming dollars in Tunica County, in Washington County, in Adams County, and in Harrison and Hancock County. There just are only so many dollars that somebody has. I got $100 every 6 weeks. How can I spend it? Am I going to go to the gas station and buy lottery tickets, or am I going to go to the slot machine and maybe eat a buffet at my favorite casino of choice? I just think that is massively unfair. We create no new jobs. We create no new infrastructure if we bring in the state lottery. I also think that's my point 1, and I really believe that. I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody but me. My point 1.A is, I think that probably one of the main reasons this died this year were there were legislators who started thinking about unintended consequences. They started hearing stories about what happened in Louisiana. Go ride down any interstate or state highway in Louisiana, and every other mile there's a truck stop with a casino in it. There's a truck stop with slot machines in the back room, because the way their law was written, it opened up that opportunity to do that. Much different than in Florida, where you have a lottery system that is set up to where, it's really just in gas stations, and it's, they're not slot machines all over the place. You go to the cash register, I want my Powerball ticket. And I think legislators got very nervous about the unintended consequences of what a lottery would mean to Mississippi, not only in comparison to how it would compete against the gaming industry itself.
Since we're taking a deep dive into one issue, I think, to continue the conversation, what you said about the gaming industry is true in this state. And those of us who lived on the Gulf Coast following Hurricane Katrina are appreciative to any business that was willing to reclaim and continue to reinvest in a place that desperately needed it. We don't need to give short shrift to that. But real leadership is saying, I don't care what your industry is. If it can truly help our education system in Mississippi, your industry isn't that important. Our education of our young people is. If we can truly get roads and bridges to a place that's better than where our state leaders left it in the spring, you have to look, and I think that's where some of those tough conversations happen. And I'm willing to give the leaders of that industry enough credit to say that they could probably appreciate that. And there are some places where they have great booming business that coexist alongside a lottery. So I'm not so sure that we can't walk and chew gum at the same time. But really, for me, as a policy matter, it boils down to, do we truly believe that there's some solution that could help us with one of these other big issues that we're having a hard time tackling?
But go look at Tunica County, and I skipped Warren County as we were going through my list down the Mississippi River. To my friends in Vicksburg, I'm sorry. But when you look at Tunica County, I mean, they're struggling there. I wonder when the last time you went to the casinos, and I like to go to the casinos. It's an opportunity and it's fun. But you go look at Tunica, it doesn't look like it did 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago. They're struggling. They are, struggling to compete against the dog track in West Memphis, Arkansas. If we go put in the state lottery, so they're going to struggle even more, and that just concerns me to a part of the state that's my home, the Mississippi Delta, and needs all the help that it can get.
But is the argument there that the person who goes and buys a $1 scratch-off ticket over the river in Louisiana would rather do that than go spend an afternoon or even an evening at a casino resort in Mississippi? Is that the fear of the casino industry, that these are the same people, the same market that they're both going after?
I don't know the exact answer to that, and I think that some people will throw out the stat of, well, if you go look at the Chevron or whatever the gas station is in Delta, Louisiana, we've all ridden at I-20 West, you see that gas station, and when the Powerball is at $500 billion, the line is wrapped around. We all have heard that argument, but my big question is, I don't think those are the people that would traditionally spend or historically spend $20 a week, $20 every other week, in a slot machine versus a Powerball. I think those are people like us who are sitting around. I won't say it's you. I'll say Brandon and me, who are sitting around going, "Oh my gosh, we could finally win the $50 billion lottery. Let's ride over to Delta, Louisiana."
We should also bookmark this episode because it was the Republican talking about what government can do for a private business in this segment, which is a little bit of a change of pace for us. So,
okay. All right, we're on that point. We're going to have to leave it, gentlemen. Thank you. As always. We are out of time. Don't forget, you can check out the program on our website, mpbonline.org/issue. And we invite you to join us again next Friday night here on MPB for another edition of At Issue. Good night.